director of the Sandifer Center. And before we get to the meat of the program, I want to reintroduce you to the Sandifer Center. I know we've talked about the changes we've made in the past, but I just want to share with you a little bit of history. Way back in 1967, we were formed as a factory. Before special ed came into play, before the Americans with Disabilities Act came into play, so creating a factory for individuals with disabilities to work was a very progressive thing back then. But what's progressive in the 60s is pretty antiquated in this day and age. And so over the past 5 years, we've been redefining ourselves, not on our mission to help individuals become independent, but on how we achieve that mission. So we now teach coping skills, we teach social skills, we teach communication skills, we teach work-ready skills. We talk about relationships and what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. We introduce our participants to the community. And at the same time, while we work with a select group of individuals who qualify for what's called long-term waiver supports, individuals that are going to need support to lead an independent and successful life for their entire life, we also provide supported employment services, which anyone with a disability can apply for through the Office of Oak Rehab, and then they refer those to us, and then we work with them on what they want to do, what they're good at, what kind of job that they want, and then Amber helps them find a job, and the most important part of that is teams up with the employer to create an environment for success, not only for the employee but for the entire team. So I'm going to let Amber introduce our speaker, and then we've got a video to show as well.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, I'm Amber Johnson. And so this morning we've been graced with the presence of Mr. John Ledane. He said he's the managing partner at Homers. I've got one of our ladies, Rose, which some of you might already know from the community. She works there now, and she's been there. She's coming up on her 6-month anniversary, and is doing very well. So I asked him to kind of share his experiences. So me transitioning over to employment supports, he was really my first employer to have that conversation and to kind of, maybe it's my guinea pig, to kind of figure out as we kind of navigate what's going to work, and kind of bounce things off of you, and you can bounce things off of me. And then Rose was very up to that too, of kind of whatever, is going to make everything work. So I was asking him, and he's been a very natural kind of his personality of how he manages and how he's been able to respond to Rose. And so I really want him to share his experience. That's why I'm glad it's on recording, so we can share that more widely. Things that have worked for him, things how we've worked together, and because he's really been the key to Rose's success there. And so, John, if you'd like to share your experience with the group, I would appreciate it.
So again, I'm John. Very nice to meet you all. Rose came to us, and honestly, her case is fairly mild, so I really didn't even notice any kind of differences between any of the other applicants whenever she first came through. But she did kind of give that information, and there's a lot of stigma behind folks with disabilities, and kind of coming with that. I did grow up, I've got a cousin that was on the spectrum, and he had a lot of difficulties growing up, but again, it was somebody that you wouldn't really know had any disabilities, except for on a communication level, they seemed a little bit younger than what he actually was. And so from the front, anticipating what we were going to have issues with, it always kind of came back to that communication. And really, it's not just folks with disabilities, it's anybody I've ever worked with. Communication is always the #1 issue. So just trying to make sure that me and her specifically are on the same page, as well as I am with all the rest of my employees. I've always tried to kind of make that groundwork, the expectations that our communication is clear, because no matter what our project is, what task we're working on, we just need to make sure that I understand what you're talking about, you understand what I'm talking about, And from a management perspective, I've always worked with this idea of the internal customer. My team takes care of our people. The kitchen, they take care of the food. The front of house team, they take care of the guests coming in. And so they've got that handled as long as I have trust for them to handle that. My job really is to make sure that my team is taken care of. And that kind of comes down to a base person, talking with each team member. And whenever you have somebody like Rose that comes in, I may just have to be a little bit more thorough. And specifically with her, I've learned my communication needs to be black and white. She does not allow me to give her gray area for her to perceive and make her own judgment on something, because she's going to come back to me with a question or not understand it or go to somebody else with that miscommunication. But again, it's just kind of coming back down to the communication side of it. And you really see that as well with the team, because whenever they're working together as a team, the issues that we thought might anticipate, and they did actually happen as well, were communicating from team member to team member. Our front of house, you don't think about it as much in a restaurant setting, but they have to work together as a team. You've got hosts, you've got servers, you have bussers, you've got a bartender. At some point in time, they have to talk to each other. Otherwise, the drink doesn't come out right, the food doesn't come out right, the table doesn't get greeted. The small details that you don't think about but really do matter to you whenever you go out to the restaurant. They didn't know how to go to Rose. They didn't know how to communicate, and there was that little bit of a stigma. And then working with them that Rose is just a person, just like you are, and trying to share that knowledge and get that exposure in, which I know we've talked about here before, that in schools, they typically pull those with disabilities out, and so there is no exposure early on. And so they don't know how to communicate, even though it's no different than you and I communicate. But over time, Rose has become more comfortable, her team members have become more comfortable, and they communicate well now. Again, kind of coming each day, making sure there's no gray area. They have a good plan for the day. And it's really kind of allowed Rose to thrive. The keys that have really helped us, though, and working a lot with Amber, and even Rose's parents come in from time to time when we talk as well. They ask how she's doing, Amber will ask how she's doing. As long as the message is consistent on coaching points, and I usually don't hold back. Whenever there's something that we need to address, having them on my side really helps out, and it's made a huge difference. And it's just been consistency and communication, and that seems like the most simplest ideas, but that's really all it takes. And it's been a lot of fun, and it's going to continue to be a lot of fun as we get into our busy months, weather's warming up outside, so we're super excited. And Rose is very eager. I was worried about her being nervous and coming into work, but she loves coming in. She tries to come in all the time. Sometimes I have to slow her down a little bit. But no, it's been great, and we're super happy to be working with Sanford Center as well.
I'm gonna let you.
Can we ask questions first?
Well, I was gonna let you get to know Rose a little bit.
Oh,
Okay. Don't mess up my plans. So I want to introduce you to Rose. You can look there, or I think up on your screens.
where'd you come from?
I came from my other job from Papa John's for 5.5 to 6 years, and then after that I left at September and then came to Homerush, got the job immediately. The reason why I came to Homerush is to make more money and have a better atmosphere. My current position right now is totally different than the one at Papa John's.
Okay, so what kind of stuff do you do right now?
Right now I'm doing pre-busing, tables, clean tables, refills, and running the expo.
Any kind of customer service?
Yes, customer service, get those raving fans and make them feel good, make them come back more often.
Okay. What kind of stuff do you do to make raving fans?
I carry on a good conversation and make them feel happy.
There you go. Do you enjoy talking with the customers?
Yes.
Okay, good. So how did we meet?
We met first when Mark came into Papa John's and we met from there.
That's right. And so, how did that come about? What am I here for?
Help me to succeed in my job.
Okay. What kind of things do we work on?
Support stuff.
Like what?
Like jobs, finding new jobs and helping with issues and problems that are on the job.
Okay. Is there any kind of struggles that you have that you work through that you've overcome?
I did back in the beginning of my job, but I had overcome it and I feel better about myself each and every day.
How important to you?
My job is important to me is because I make more money as wages
Mhm.
and I stay focused more.
Mm-hmm. How does that make you feel about yourself?
It makes me feel good about myself.
Do you feel proud?
Yeah, I feel pride about myself and I feel happy about it.
Do you like to tell people that you work at Homer's?
Yes. When people ask me, what do you work at? What do you work at? Like Homer's Barbecue. I work at Homer's Barbecue.
You tell them to come on down for some.
Yeah, I always get them to come down
There you go.
for some good barbecue.
Okay.
My autism has affected me much better than my previous job.
Okay. So give some examples for somebody that doesn't understand how that might affect you. Like we talked about, like the stressors you have, like the noises and the volume of the music and stuff. There are things like that make it difficult that you have to work through.
It's the busyness of a restaurant makes me feel stressed when there's a lot of people in there.
Okay.
If it dies down, it's not as bad.
Okay. What if you have lots of tasks to do?
Then that gets overwhelming.
Okay. Is there any ways that your managers and stuff have helped you?
Yeah, they help me to like relax myself and to help me handle the things much better.
Okay. Is there certain things they gave you, like maybe a list or a way to do things that make it easier?
Yes,
What does that look like?
it's on 7 shifts.
Okay. And 7 shifts. What else?
That's it.
There was something about where you go around and John worked. with
Yeah,
you,
pre-busing tables.
like your checklist.
Yeah, checklist. That's my checklist.
Okay. So what does the checklist help you do?
Help me to remember everything.
Does it help you stay focused?
Yes,
Not feel overwhelmed?
right.
That
I
helps.
still do remember that.
Okay. Good. So you still use that every day?
Yeah.
Okay. That's on the last. So what other ways has your team at Homer's helped you have a good experience and because you said this job was a much better experience. So
They make me feel a much better person.
how? How do they help you out?
They always ask for help.
Okay. Do you feel valued there?
Yes,
Okay. Do you feel like an important part of the team?
yes.
How else have they helped you?
They help me to succeed. Talk to the support and employment specialist and they will help you and support you.
Okay.
Every single day. One of my biggest moments is that I always have that positive attitude. And my proudest moment is to stay focused and work hard every day. And last couple of weeks I couldn't work because of the loss of my grandfather. And John has helped me to take the rest of the week off because I was grieving. And he had helped me for my mental health. He has been the best manager by far. He has, and I really do appreciate him on what he does. He wants to make sure that I get myself taken care of, and he's always wants what's best for me and how I handle things.